Well, this past week, we saw a quantum leap that could rewrite computer history. Google's Willow chip is touted as not just another technology breakthrough, but an evolution in the way we solve some of the world's toughest challenges. In under 5 minutes, the chip can solve a problem that would take today's most powerful computers 10 septillion years. That's longer than the age of our universe. It's a technology that could transform everything from AI, cybersecurity, scientific research, to even financial strategies. Meanwhile, Canada is in a unique position to capitalize on this developing technology. For more on this, we're speaking to Michele Mosca, co-founder of the Institute for Quantum Computing at the University of Waterloo and CEO of Evolution Q. Michele, thanks very much for joining us on the program today.
Hi, Linda. Great to be here.
I'm glad you're here, and I'm hoping that you can explain for all of us who don't know this stuff inside out like you do, what is quantum computing and why is Willow such a game changer?
Quantum computing is what you get when you evolve today's computing platforms to also take advantage of quantum mechanical rules. The quantum mechanical rules, they were invented over 100 years ago to try to explain some phenomena that seemed impossible. Right? And then we understood a more fundamental phenomena, some knobs sort of under the hood that explained these previously impossible things. But over the past century, we've built technologies that can control matter and information at the quantum mechanical levels, so we can kind of engineer them to do previously impossible things that we want to do. So instead of just observing some effects, we can actually start creating effects and results that would otherwise have been impossible. And so when you build a computer out of quantum mechanical bits, in regular computers, take information, encode it into zeros and ones that we call bits, manipulate them, and do something with the answer. A quantum bit somehow embodies 0 and 1 at the same time. So this extra complexity is also an opportunity. And if we can encode certain problems and manipulate them using quantum bits, we can solve them with astronomically fewer steps. So it's not about faster clock speeds, it's about just reducing the number of operations required. The big wake-up call for us was over 30 years ago, where, for example, certain codes that protect the internet today, it's supposed to take trillions of years to break those codes on a regular computer, but on a quantum computer, you can do with many, many fewer steps that you can do in a few hours, maybe even minutes. And so the name of the game now is, what are useful things we can do with these computers? But of course, to truly harness the power of quantum computers, because it was an idea over 30 years ago, we need to correct for errors. Because even if you have an error rate of 1 in 1,000, that means you can only do a few thousand operations before you're almost certainly going to have a mistake and that the answer will be wrong and useless. Right? So there's this whole game of quantum error correction. Otherwise, we're stuck with just a few hundred gates or so, So just to step back, today's processors, they do billions of operations per second, right? And today we can only get away with a few hundred quantum operations. In order to get beyond that, you need error correction, and that's where Willow comes in. It really takes us into this new era of quantum error correction.
And so Willow cuts down on the number of errors, and that's exciting for all the reasons there that you explained. Can you explain just how we might use this in the real world?
Yeah, so to use it in the real world, it's kind of like asking, in the 1950s, what are regular computers of the day going to be used for? And back then, they were used to simulate nuclear reactions and to break codes, right? And it took years to figure out, people weren't looking for computation to solve their problems because it didn't really exist for most of them. But now we're in this new era where we're just at the cusp. And again, Google's results, which take error correction from an idea to something that you can actually implement in devices, lower the error rates, and be able to implement many more operations, much larger computations. Now we're starting to see companies, government departments try to figure out which sectors of our economy would be greatly impacted by this computing power. And we have ideas of where it could impact, such as energy, with new materials to capture and transport energy, healthcare, and other sectors. But now we're just starting the game of, well, build up the game, let's say, of understanding which economic sectors would be enhanced and disrupted in a positive way by quantum computing technologies.
And we said Canada is in a unique position to capitalize on this. They have a national quantum strategy to facilitate research and development. But are we doing enough? And what are the potential economic impacts of quantum computing that has so many nations looking at furthering this technology?
Well, we're doing a lot. We've done a lot, but no, it's not enough. We need to evolve. And this is a challenge around the world. We're not the only ones struggling with this, but those who figure it out faster and better will certainly reap the benefits of this. We need to go from research to development to really operationalizing and using these technologies. These are different games when you want to operationalize with different players. So we really need to get them into the fold and engage with them to figure out how this will impact, well, a few things, how this will impact the critical parts of the Canadian economy. Because disruption is great for the disruptors. We don't want to lose our current jobs. We want to augment our current jobs. And then there's also this new quantum sector emerging. We obviously want to be big players in there. These two are synergistic, because to benefit from quantum advantage, you need to have access to the technology. And the best way to get your seat at the table of having access to the technology is to be a big part of producing and exporting the technology around the world. So our policies, and they need to be fast. This is no longer a science project. And that's a really hard idea to get across to people. And this is not a question of how many budget cycles later, or how many election cycles later. This is how many months and quarters, how quickly can we move? Because the world is moving very rapidly here.
And we thank you for explaining it for us.
Pleasure.
That's Michele Mosca, co-founder of the Institute for Quantum Computing at the University of Waterloo.